We open on the title, the soft close versus hard close, when to guide gently and when to ask directly. At some point, everyone selling something, an idea, a product, a vision, hits this moment of tension. You've done the work, you've built value, and now you're wondering, do I lean in or do I step back? That question sits at the heart of this presentation because closing isn't about pressure, it's about judgment. Brian Tracy's quote on this slide hints at it already. The sale happens in the buyer's mind, not in your mouth, meaning whatever you say at the end only works if the internal decision has already begun forming. And that's what soft and hard closes are really about, helping that internal decision come into focus. As we move forward, keep one thing in mind. This isn't about tricks or scripts. It's about timing, awareness, and respect. Now, looking at the agenda slide, notice the structure. We're not just defining terms. We're exploring when each approach works, why it works, and what goes wrong when it's misused. And by the end, you should be able to walk into your next conversation with a clearer sense of when to ease off and when to be direct. Before we go deeper, here's a quick note. If you want a step-by-step PDF version of this framework, something you can revisit, highlight, or share with your team, you'll find it linked below. And if this kind of thinking helps you sharpen your judgment, consider subscribing. We build on ideas like this every week, slowly and practically. Now, let's talk about the real challenge in closing. This slide names it plainly. Most deals don't fall apart because the product was wrong or the price was too high. They fall apart because pressure and timing were misjudged. Someone pushed too early and trust cracked. Or they waited too long and momentum quietly evaporated. If you've ever had a prospect say, "Let me think about it," and then disappear, you've seen this firsthand. Not a rejection, just drift. Closing lives in that narrow window between those two extremes. And recognizing that window is a skill, not a personality trait. That brings us to the soft close. A soft close isn't passive, and it isn't weak. It's deliberate curiosity. As the slide shows, it invites agreement without forcing a decision. You're asking questions that test readiness instead of demanding commitment. Think about phrases like, "How does this fit your priorities?" Or, "Would this solve the issue you mentioned earlier?" These aren't throwaway questions. They're diagnostic tools. They tell you what the buyer is already saying to themselves. This approach draws heavily from relationship-based persuasion, Dale Carnegie's core insight that people move faster when they feel understood. You're not steering yet, you're listening. So why does this work so well? The next slide answers that. Buyers relax when they feel respected. Soft closes reduce psychological resistance. They surface objections early when they're still manageable. In consultative sales models, especially in B2B or high consideration purchases, this is gold. Salesforce data consistently shows that when buyers feel heard, retention improves. And retention in many businesses is where the real profit lives. Soft closes buy you something valuable: honesty. But in this matters, soft closes are not the whole story. Now we arrive at the hard close. A hard close is clarity. It's the moment where ambiguity ends. You ask directly for the decision. Are you ready to move forward today? Shall we finalize the agreement? Notice what's missing here. There's no apology, no filler, no retreat. This isn't aggression, it's decisiveness. And decisiveness, used at the right moment, can feel like relief to the buyer. Sun Tzu talked about seizing opportunity when conditions are favorable. In sales terms, that means recognizing when readiness is already present and not hesitating out of fear. So when does the hard close actually win? This slide lays it out. Hard closes work when readiness is high and delay has a cost. Clear buying signals, time-sensitive offers, competitive environments. Think about real estate in a hot market or end-of-quarter enterprise deals, or even a customer who keeps asking implementation questions. At that point, not asking directly can feel strangely evasive. Gartner's research supports this. Decisions happen faster when urgency is real and acknowledged. The mistake isn't asking. The mistake is asking before the moment arrives. And that leads us to the risk of extremes. Soft only stalls decisions. Hard only damages trust. This slide is the philosophical center of the deck. Aristotle called it the golden mean, the idea that virtue lives between excess and deficiency. In modern sales, that translates to balance. If you're always gentle, you become invisible. If you're always forceful, you become unsafe. Neither builds sustainable momentum. Now we zoom out and look at what actually works in practice. The hybrid approach. Start soft, finish clear. The strongest closers don't announce the shift. They let it happen naturally. They explore needs gently. They build momentum through small agreements. And when the moment peaks, they ask clearly. Jeffrey Gitomer has said that people don't mind being closed, they mind being rushed. The hybrid approach respects that distinction. As this slide suggests, this isn't theory. It's how high-performing teams operate. Look at how modern SaaS teams run demos, or how Tesla handles test drives. Interest is probed first, certainty is built, and then when confidence is visible, the close happens without drama. No tricks, no pressure spikes, just timing. Now, this is a good moment to pause and turn the question outward. As you're listening to this, think about your own experience. Where do you tend to lean? Too soft, too hard, or inconsistent depending on your mood? Drop a comment with your instinct. Do you struggle more with asking directly or with knowing when to stop nurturing? I'm curious to see the patterns. Now let's bring this back to action. This slide is simple on purpose. You don't need a new personality. You need a few repeatable habits. Use one soft close in every conversation. Watch for readiness signals instead of guessing. Ask directly when momentum is high, and after each attempt, successful or not, reflect briefly. What signal did you notice? What did you miss? Neil Rackham's work on spin selling reinforces this idea. Better questions lead to better timing, and better timing leads to better outcomes. And finally, we arrive at the conclusion. The real skill isn't persuasion, it's judgment. Closing is not pressure. It's knowing when clarity serves the buyer as much as it serves you. Zig Ziglar reminds us that people buy emotionally and justify logically. Soft closes speak to emotion. Hard closes bring logic into focus. Together, they complete the decision loop. To make this practical, grab the PDF linked in the description. It walks you through examples and reflection prompts you can actually use. If you found this valuable, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future deep dives like this. Because selling well isn't about being louder, it's about being more aware.